So this one time I went to the nail salon and I had the creepiest experience ever. The same place that I do like every month. And I walk in and my lady's like, oh, just, take a seat next to this guy. Because this guy was getting his like nails like cut and like, I don't know, he's getting a manicure. I'm not one to judge. So this guy's sitting down and I sit next to him because my lady says to sit down next to him. I'm like, okay. So this guy and I start talking and he's like 40 maybe, like 35 or something. I don't know. We're just talking about like what he does for work and like where he went to school and like all this like random stuff. But again, it's like a normal conversation. Keep talking and then I kind of like stop responding really. Like I'm like kind of done with the conversation. So anyways, flash forward 10 minutes. His nails are done. Like he just got like a clear coat or whatever, but he's done, right? And the lady's like, okay, you guys can switch seats now. So I switch into the seat where the lady's gonna do my nails and he goes to wash his hands. Right, washes his hands and then he comes back and just sits right down next to me. Just pops right in the chair that I was just in. So I'm sitting down and the lady's doing my nails. I'm not talking to this guy. Like at this point, I'm like kind of weirded out. So like we're not talking. Like there's no conversation going on. He's just sitting next to me kind of on his phone. And I'm like, okay, this is really weird. Guys, 30 minutes go by. Maybe even like 45 minutes. He's still there. He's still sitting next to me on his phone. He starts taking business calls. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So as the lady like gets done with my nails, I'm like, I cannot leave this building before this man leaves the building because like he's gonna follow me to my car or something. Like he's waiting for me to be done. So I was like, all right, I need to like say something, do something. Taylor, step up. Oh, I turn to him and I go, do you like taking business calls at nail salons? Like, is that something you do for fun or like, why are you still here? And he like looked really like kind of surprised that I said something. He was like, I'm just waiting to pay. And the nail lady was like, oh no, like come, you can pay right now. So he goes, he pays, and he leaves. And I'm like, that was really like odd. Once he leaves, all these women in the nail salon turn and look at me and they're like, wait, we thought that was your dad. Like, you don't know him? And I'm like, no. And like, maybe he was just like a nice random guy, but like, I was so scared. I was like, I'm gonna be on the next episode of Dateline. And that's it.
Okay, it's time for another creepy story time. My parents had me in their early 20s and ended up getting divorced when I was less than a year old. I often spent the night at my grandma's house on my mum's side since my mum didn't have much money at the time. I don't remember this happening, but my mother and grandmother tell me the story like it was yesterday. When I was really little, I would come out of my room and tell everyone that there was a lady that stood over my crib at night and watched me sleep. Since I was so little, everyone thought I was just making up stories and it was my imagination or I was just dreaming. This continued on for months, and one day my mum and grandma were looking through a photo book, and as they were just flipping through the pages, she lands on a photo of my dad's mum, my other grandma, and I pointed right to her and said, "That's the lady that stands over my crib at night." I had never met her, and she died years before I was born.
Let's do a get ready with me and a story time, because this story just deserves to be shared. Alright, to set the scene for you, I was in middle school, and in middle school, it's literally the most awkward years of your life, and everybody is just trying to fit in. At this stage of my life, I was kind of going through a rough patch, just hanging around the wrong people. I wasn't really bad, but I definitely needed to get back on track. So during middle school, we needed AR points, which were like reading points, and we had to take tests on books. And I hadn't finished my book yet, but I was in my self-care era even back then, and I decided to take my book into the bath to read, but I also decided to take my phone. Let me also add, this is when iPhones were not as waterproof as they are now. So I go to step into my freshly made bath with bubbles and everything, with my book in one hand, a bath bomb in the other hand, and my phone. So my hands were full, too full. So when I step in, I drop my phone. Traumatic. I'm obviously upset because I think my phone is broken. I also dropped my book, which I'm borrowing from the school. And so I pick my phone up. My book is just floating through the water. And I pick my phone up like this. I don't think anything of it. I run downstairs, I put it in a bag of rice, and I get back in my bath and I start reading my half-soaken book. All of a sudden, people are banging on the bathroom door, saying that my best friend has called the house phone like 8 million times. So I get out of the bath in my towel, I walk to my room, and I call her back, and I'm like, hey, like, what's up? She's flipping out. Like, she is hyperventilating, you know, like, Ace, what is on your story? What is on your story? And I'm like, what do you mean what's on my story? Like, my phone is broken in a bag of rice. And she's like, girl, like, there's a video of on your story. And I'm in complete shock. So I'm literally just sitting on my bed in a towel, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to tell my mom. Like, this is horrifying. I tell my mom, my best friend comes over. I'm still wrapped in a towel, and I look down over my balcony, and my neighbors are there, my dad is there, everyone you don't want to be there to see this video. I get to watch the video for the first time, and I am literally bawling my eyes out, and my book is just floating through the water of the video. If you're wondering why I didn't just log in and delete it, I didn't know my login. So some kid eventually logged in and deleted it for me. And at school the next day, everyone hugged me and acted as if I had a family member pass away, and I had to give a speech in front of the whole school. Don't take your phone in the bath.
The other day when I was out alone, something terrifying happened to me, and this is why us girls forever need to be aware of our surroundings 24/7. This happened in Brea, California at the Savers thrift store, having a tea party for my birthday, and I wanted to find antique items. I was looking for everything, and I think I was just so concentrated on what I was doing, I totally forgot that I was in a public space. I did happen to notice when I was in there though that there was two tall, very tall men that kept like walking back and forth. I thought they worked there. And this is when I started feeling uncomfortable, because any aisle I would go down, the same man kept going down the same aisle. I kept fighting with myself though and thinking I was just being paranoid because he wasn't coming close to me. I was in the other aisle and I didn't see him for a while, so I really thought that this was just in my head. I did end up seeing something I liked on the bottom shelf, not even thinking. I bent over. And as I'm bending over, I just see some feet right next to me, and all I hear is this. He smelled me. I had a basket full of things, and I thought, what better way than to tell the cashier what's going on and someone can walk me to my car. But to my surprise, Savers has self-checkout. There is no cashiers. At this point, I full on lost the dude. I don't know where he went in the store, so I hurried up and checked my items out to try to hurry out of the store. I'm scanning my final item, and I hear somebody go to the self-checkout next to me. And it was him. He was checking out right next to me. So I looked at what he was buying, because the whole time I didn't see him pick up anything. And the only thing he bought was a knife. And I'm not talking about a butter knife. I'm talking about one of those knives. The way my stomach dropped when I saw what he had bought, I immediately started hyperventilating and shaking like a freaking chihuahua. And I'm looking for an employee. One of the employees actually ended up coming up to me and asking me if I was all right. And I was like, no. I told her what happened, and she got scared as well. I had asked her if she could please get one of the male employees to walk me to my car. The sweetest little fresh out of high school boy walked me to my car, and the whole time was making sure that I was okay and calming down. Bless his heart. But ladies, had I not been so observant, I could have really put myself in such a dangerous spot. So please, please, please always watch your surroundings, share your location, tell people where you're going. I'm just so thankful that I was able to spot it fast enough and able to get help. Be safe.
Let me explain to you bitches what it feels like to have sleep paralysis, or to get sleep paralysis. Also, get rid of me to go shopping to get shit for my living room. So basically, I'm always fucking getting sleep paralysis, like all the fucking time. And the last time I got it was in that Get Ready With Me, like what, 3 days ago? And I was taking a nap during the day and I kept getting sleep paralysis. I got it 3 times. I'm pretty sure sleep paralysis is different for everybody, but I'll tell you bitches how mine is. And if any of you bitches get sleep paralysis too, then let me know if yours is like different or the same. I have 2 different kinds, okay? I have the regular schmegular, and then the other one is like more scarier. My regular one is just whenever like I just can't move. Like I know I'm asleep, but I'm awake. Like I know I'm asleep, but I'm awake and I just can't move. It's kind of hard to explain. Like you're awake, your eyes are closed, but it feels like you're trapped and you can't move, like you can't wake up, but you know like you're there. You know? I'm gonna need to color correct a bit because I can't shave yet since I just got laser. It's kind of like the worst fucking feeling ever. Like, I get scared because, like, I would hate to be trapped like that. Like, imagine falling asleep and never being able to wake up, but you know you're asleep. The best way I can explain the feeling for people that don't get it is just, like, you're there and you're, like you're pushing to wake up, but you're not waking up. And you're, like, really fucking fighting to wake up. And honestly, I don't know how it is for other people because I'm pretty sure there's people out there that, like, they take forever to wake up. Usually me, probably like after a minute, I can get up. Like I just have to like really like push and like force awake. Oh fuck, this concealer's too light. It gets scary though because you really feel like you're not gonna fucking wake up. Oh, I almost forgot her. Now the second sleep paralysis is a little bit scarier. I've only ever gotten it twice, but like this one is not like my other sleep paralysis where it's like, okay, let me try going back to sleep again. This one is like, once it happens, it's like, I'm not going back to sleep. Like, I'm gonna stay awake for the rest of the fucking night, because no thank you. But before I get into this one, quick bloom break. Delicious. Okay, as I was saying, the second sleep paralysis is like a lot scarier because this one, your eyes are open and you can't move and you see something or you see somebody. I think that kind of sleep paralysis is honestly the most talked about kind of sleep paralysis. I got that shit in my old house once and it was like the same fucking thing. Like you're just, but this time your eyes are open. This one, you're awake, you just can't move. Like you really can't fucking move. My eyes were open and it was in the dark and I saw like the outline of this figure and I was just like trying to wake up, but I couldn't. Bitch, once I woke up, that shit fucking, like once I woke up, I obviously was like that. Once I woke up, it was gone. After that happened, bitch, fuck that. I called my mom into my room and she slept on the floor next to my bed. And it was at 3 a.m. too. Actually, I think I even tried sleeping again after that. But then it happened again and then I was like, hey, mommy, can you come sleep with me in my room? I've heard scarier stories though, bitch. Like I have a prima that has kids and she has her baby's crib like right next to her bed. And she said one time that she got fucking sleep paralysis and like there was somebody, that she saw somebody there standing over her baby's crib. And she was obviously trying to wake the fuck up, but she couldn't. So imagine how fucking scary that shit would be. Fuck that. And I don't know what sleep paralysis is caused by. I just know the bitch needs to fuck off. I honestly need to look it up because I know there has to be some kind of fucking scientific bullshit ass reason behind it. I think the real reason is though just the fucking energy in the room or somebody haunting me or something. Anyway, let's go to part 2 to help me get dressed because I need to look cute while shopping for a TV stand.
I honestly hope that if you are watching this right now, it is not dark and you are not alone, because I'm going to be telling you 3 true scary Japanese horror stories that actually may make you shit yourself. So the first story centers around a woman that lurks in the gaps in your rooms. Her name is quite literally Tsukima Onna, or the Gap Woman. So you know how you have gaps or like crevices, like say under your bed, you may have a crack under there. She could be lurking under there, or under your doorway, she could be right there. So in Japan, there was one man, typical office worker, and his coworker started noticing that he was not showing up to work that week, which is very unusual for him. When they went to his house, or his apartment at the time, they noticed that he was very unkempt. The apartment was just in disarray. And when they asked him what was wrong, he said he did not want to leave her alone, referring to the Gap Woman. And this is one of the ways she tends to target people. I saw someone doing setting powder before they applied their makeup and stuff, so we're gonna try it out. But anyways, so the main 2 ways she targets you is when she has her eyes set on you, then you're done. So the first way is what the man had went through. You don't leave your home and you just become emaciated and basically a shell of yourself. Like you just kind of deteriorate over time without leaving your home. And the second way is she just drags you to hell. Now, right now, you may be wondering, how can I avoid this woman? And to be quite frank with you, you can't. As I said earlier, you're gonna have gaps in your home. It's completely normal. I have cracks and gaps all over my room. Now, if she decides to pay you a visit, well, good luck. Now, the next story is a bit more on the creepier side. This one talks about a lady who was stuck at an abandoned train station, or actually a train station that didn't even exist. Now, the story of Kisaragi Station was posted onto 2chan in 2004 by a woman by the name of Hasumi. And it's a series of threads that documents her experience, like pretty much like live, like as she's going through it and, you know, asking and reaching out for help from fellow 2chan users. Now this thread was titled "Post about strange occurrences around you," thread 26. And it starts off with Hasumi explaining how she awoke in a train carriage and all of the passengers were asleep. Now this is the start, or this marks the start of the strange events that were about to unfold into the night for her. Now, if you guys don't know, train rides can be pretty long, so it's not okay, sorry, my dog just whatever. It's not abnormal to sleep, but to have everyone simultaneously asleep when you're the only one awake, that's odd. Now, this train ride was her usual commute to work, but her and other users were sharing the same concerns and confusion because it was just very abnormal. And she could also not get a hold of any of the workers on board, like the conductor or, the person that kind of goes down the aisles and asks if you need anything. She couldn't get a hold of any of those people. Now, after about an hour or so, the train finally made a stop at Kisaragi Station. And after Hasumi had posted this update, users began commenting how there was no such station and they were giving her advice on how to get out. So she immediately tried to locate a taxi, but her efforts were proved futile when she couldn't locate any other signs of life nearby aside from the people that were already at the station or on the train. So she eventually locates a telephone booth and dials her parents, but her parents can also not locate her at all. So they advised her to go dial emergency services in Japan. And once she had dialed in, they thought it was a prank. So they kind of left her hanging basically. So eventually, after this occurrence happened with the telephone and trying to call for help, Asumi noticed that there was almost a festival of some sorts going on, but she got a very strange and ominous feeling, and it scared her enough to where she ran onto nearby train tracks and tried to escape through there. And someone yelled out to her, "Don't do that, it's dangerous." And when she turned around, she saw a one-legged man, and he was an apparition who vanished almost as quickly as she saw him. This scared her even further, and she ran through a tunnel, which when she made it out, she found a mysterious man. Now, although she found it very weird, the man was very friendly and offered Hasumi, help to get out of there. So she followed him, but over time he began to become more and more quiet, which she found very odd and, just unsettling overall. And then eventually she updated, which was her last update to the forum, that the man was talking to himself about bizarre things and that her phone battery was running out, so it would be her last update. And then after that, the story ends there, which, wow. And our final story is the cursed Kleenex commercial that aired in the mid-80s in Japan, but it was rumored to be cursed. And let's get more into that. So the cursed Kleenex commercial features a woman dressed she has the white dress on, and a child painted in red depicted as an oni. And for those of you who don't know, an oni is basically a troll in Japanese folklore. There's even a game based around an oni. It's, a purple one. I can include a picture. Maybe you guys recognize it. But anyways, let's get back to the story. So a lot of viewers found this ad to be very disturbing, and this led to it being pulled off air. And although the lyrics are in English, a lot of people also believed that the lyrics were actually a rough translation in German, which meant "die, die, everyone is cursed and will die," which further fueled people's scared levels, however you say it. Now, further rumors had stated that the red body paint that was used on the child who was depicted as the Oni had actually passed away due to the paint, and the actress who was in the white dress in the commercial had a really severe breakdown and was institutionalized and also gave birth to a demon baby. Also, too, if you happen to watch this commercial at midnight on the dot, it actually becomes very distorted and overall just even more creepy than it originally is. Now, do I have the balls to test this out for myself? No. But if any of you lovely people want to comment if it works, be my guest. I will give you a hug or something. I don't know, but I'm not doing it. Also, happy fucking October, you guys. This is like one of my favorite months. So we're gonna be amping up the content with the like scary shit and more true crime stuff because you know what? It's October and I am so excited for Halloween. Oh my fucking God. But anyways, you guys have a great day. It is my self-care day. So I'm logging out now, but you guys enjoy the rest of your day.
This 15-year-old girl is a terrifying killer that bragged about what she did in her diary. Alyssa Bustamante was literally born into chaos and trouble. Her parents were literally cousins that got pregnant with Alyssa when they were only teenagers themselves. They were both substance users. Her mom was neglectful. Her dad was abusive. When Alyssa was 9 years old, her dad was in prison and her mom was just high all of the time. So she was actually removed out of the home with her 3 younger siblings and placed in the custody of her grandparents. Her grandparents really wanted to give these kids like a good fresh start. So they moved them from California to a small town in Missouri called St. Martin's. But at that point, it was almost too late for Alyssa. Alyssa was only 9 years old, but she was in serious need of some therapy. She was super hateful and aggressive and angry and violent. And the older Alyssa got, the more she rebelled. She started dressing in like an emo aesthetic. She was posting some like really disturbing things on MySpace, which was like the popular social media at the time. It could have all been a cry for help. I mean, like on one hand, having really strong emotions as a teenage girl, Alyssa is like 14, 15 at this point, that's normal. But what isn't normal is around this time, Alyssa started to tell her friends that she was fantasizing about what it would be like to unalive someone. And then tragically on October 21st, 2009, Alyssa made those dark, twisted fantasies come true. That was the day that Alyssa planned that she was going to take someone's life. Early in the day, Alyssa went into the wooden area behind her home and dug a hole that would serve as a grave for her victim. Then as it started to get dark out, Alyssa's twisted plan went into effect. Alyssa, who remembers only 15 years old at the time, brought her 6-year-old sister Emma out to play. Alyssa then instructed her 6-year-old sister Emma to go 4 houses down and invite their 9-year-old neighbor Elizabeth Olton out to play. Little 6-year-old Emma was so young and naive, she probably thought that it was cool that her older sister wanted to play with her and her friend Elizabeth. I mean, Alyssa was always kind of mean and kind of abusive towards Emma, and now she wanted to play with her. Emma had no idea that what she was actually doing was luring one of her best friends to be brutally unalived by her own big sister. Elizabeth Olton's mother didn't even want Elizabeth to go out to play because they were about to settle down for dinner. But you know how little girls are, they were really persistent about wanting to play together. So eventually, Elizabeth's mother reluctantly agreed as long as she would be back in 1 hour for dinner. But tragically, little 9-year-old Elizabeth Olton would never make it back home. When Elizabeth and Emma came running, back to Alyssa and Emma's home to play with Alyssa, Alyssa immediately ordered Emma to go home, and then she lured little Elizabeth into the woods where she had dug her grave a couple hours earlier. And that is where 15-year-old Alyssa Bustamante brutally unalived 9-year-old Elizabeth Olton. What Alyssa had just done seemed to barely even faze her. She excitedly ran home and wrote about it in her diary. I'm gonna put what Alyssa wrote in her diary on the screen now. She describes what she had just done moments earlier to this little 9-year-old girl that she knew. It was one of her sister's best friends. They played together all the time. Elizabeth only lived 4 houses down. And then after she wrote what she did to her, she wrote, "I don't know how to feel at the moment. It was amazing. As soon as you get over the, oh my God, I can't do this feeling, it's pretty enjoyable. I'm kind of nervous and shaky though right now. Okay, I gotta go to church now. LOL." There aren't even words to describe that. It's horrifying and disgusting. When Elizabeth never made it home at 6 p.m. for dinner, her mom immediately knew that something terrible happened. And within 24 hours, the investigators learned that the last person to be seen with 9-year-old Elizabeth was her 15-year-old neighbor. The investigators searched Alyssa's room while she was at school. They told, her parents that I think that she was just a witness at that point. And that is when they found Alyssa's diary. And it was full of really, really dark and disturbing entries. But the investigators were most interested about the diary entry that was made on the day that Elizabeth went missing. And they saw that it had been completely scribbled over in pen to hide what Alyssa had written that day. They were able to recover what had been written before it was scribbled over, and that was the entry I just read to you. And that is when Alyssa was finally brought into questioning for the disappearance and possible unaliving of Elizabeth Olten. I truly think that Alyssa thought that she was smart and covered her tracks and that she was going to get away with it. She seemed not nervous at all being questioned by these detectives until they mentioned her diary. And that is when her story completely changed from I have no idea what happened to yes, I was playing with Elizabeth, we were playing in the woods, and Elizabeth had accidentally fallen, hit in her head, and passed away. And that is when the investigators asked Alyssa one more question. And Alyssa's response to that question completely broke her grandmother, who was in the room. I mean, this poor woman, she thought that she was only bringing her granddaughter in as a witness. She had no idea what her granddaughter could be capable of. She thought that this was the little girl that she had saved. And to learn that she was the reason why their little missing neighbor was missing, it completely broke her. And I'll show you that footage now.
Why did she die? 9-year-old girls don't just die.
She fell back and hit her head.
Was her throat cut?
Yeah. Oh. Oh my God. Oh.
That is when Alyssa made a full confession and she was sentenced to life in prison. But if you think that's where this case ends, you are sadly mistaken, because there's a really, really recent, disturbing, dark update in this case. But before I get into that disgusting update, I do want to take a moment to talk about Elizabeth and the other people that were affected in this case. I cannot stop thinking about Elizabeth's poor mother and Alyssa's little sister. I couldn't even begin to imagine the regret and the guilt. I mean, Elizabeth's mother didn't even want her to go out to play that day. And then Alyssa's little sister, she was only 6, and she was the one used to lure her friend to be unalived. She would be about 21 years old now, and both of them, everyone affected in this case, are definitely in my thoughts. I'm completely heartbroken for both of them, and I hope everyone in this case knows that it's not their fault. The only person at fault here is, of course, Alyssa Bustamante. Elizabeth Olten was only 9 years old when her life was stolen from her in the most terrible and terrifying way. This was a little girl who loved animals and music. She was a huge Taylor Swift and Hannah Montana fan. And, she was really excited at the time, and her only big worry was that she had just scored a lead in the school musical. And then her life was just stolen from her in such a senseless, terrifying way. It's in remembrance for the way that Elizabeth Olten's life was stolen from her that truly horrifies people with the recent update in this case. In 2021, a new bill was passed in Missouri that gives any minor that was sentenced to life in prison a chance of parole after 15 years, which means Alyssa has a chance for parole in July of 2024, which is now. I'm putting this video up on July 1st, 2024. This bill obviously came with a lot of criticism and backlash, especially regarding Alyssa Bustamante. So a state representative actually made a statement saying that this bill was not created for minors that committed crimes like Alyssa, and that it should not and would not apply to her. Personally, I don't think that she has a chance of getting out anytime soon, if ever, but I guess we will have to wait and see. If you watched to the end of this video, thank you so much for listening to Elizabeth Olten's story. I feel like so often she's lost in her own case. So if you watch the end, let me know, and let me know if you're still liking the longer videos we're doing. And I will see you guys tomorrow with 2 new videos.